On tonight's episode of Sanity Lounge, the boys welcome Joe Stamboni into the studio. Joe is a lifelong drummer with the genuine bug for audio production and a bloodline in rhythm. After chasing his dream from the windy city of Chicago back to the average breeze of Charm City, Joe currently produces one of the top radio shows on the East Coast, Justin Scott and Spiegel on Baltimore's historical 98 Rock. While balancing his dreams of making a living off original music at night, Joe is a genuine diamond in a sea of fugazis. Join us as we dissect Joe's roots in rhythm, discuss how he got the most sought-after radio producer job in Maryland, and deep dive into personal psychedelic experiences with rhythm on this fascinating episode of The Lounge. Don't forget to stick around after the show for Live at the Lounge featuring Joe on drums. Okay, welcome to Sanity Lounge. We have a special episode. First of all, it's 420, so that's
happy
fun
420.
as shit.
Yeah,
happy
cool.
420.
Right, happy 420.
We planned that.
We did plan that, right. Our guest today is Joe Stamboni. If you don't know who he is, you will soon. He's the young producer, youngish producer from
Not as young
98
as
Rock
Brian
Morning
thought.
Show, and he's an outstanding drummer. And
We'll see about that.
We're gonna find that out at the end.
well, I know that he's an
I've been
outstanding
told.
drummer.
Yeah, I got a lot to live up to. No pressure. No pressure.
Well, you've been hyped up by. Well, I'll start right there. So I went. Well, we were just talking about getting guests in here. I was with Owen and Lauren at Mo Lauda, seeing Mo Lauda at Baltimore Soundstage, and I was just telling him about the podcast. We hadn't even started yet, and he's like, "Oh." She's talking to my buddy Stamboni. I'm like, oh, you know Stamboni? He's like, yeah, I've known him my whole life. Well, and he's a drummer. I'm like, you've been holding out on me, apparently. So Owen was my actual neighbor for 8 years. I went to his wedding in Mexico, so how do you know Owen?
Okay.
Me and my wife went to his wedding in Mexico, and it was a blast.
Yeah, no.
I
would have loved to have been there.
Oh my God!
Thanks, Owen.
We were
That's
nude.
so funny.
Yeah, there was nudity. There was
Tequila.
me blacking out. Like I got fucking
Well,
roofied.
Davis, yeah.
Dude,
You
I got
roofied?
off
Lucky.
the plane hammered. Got arrived hammered.
Right.
The first thing I did when I got to that resort is jumped in the pool with my phone. Gone. Within a half an hour of me being in Mexico, I had no more phone.
Pro move. Now you don't have to contact anybody back at home.
You
Yeah.
weren't
Just enjoy
roofied.
yourself.
You
Oh,
just
God
get blasted when
Man,
you
that's
go.
a story in and of itself.
That's awesome.
So how the fuck have you known Owen your whole life?
Okay, so I know Owen through a friend Ryan Flynn. Do you know Ryan?
Yes.
And yeah, okay.
Ryan was at that party.
Yeah. So I went to
Amazing.
school. Elementary school. Shout out St. Ursula's with Ryan.
Dude, that's where my kids go.
Oh, no
right
shit.
now. Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a small world.
I got
dude.
to
Yeah.
You're a St. Ursula alum.
Yeah,
This is
man.
amazing. I
Yeah.
can't wait to tell Amanda and Garrett and Lincoln. They're Garrett's. He's finishing 7th and Lincoln's finishing 6th.
Oh, God bless him.
They probably have some of the same teachers there.
Yeah. Probably. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went to school with Ryan, and then just naturally, and Ryan and I, we went to school together since kindergarten.
Nice.
And then, naturally, as we got older and stuff, we'd hang out and play video games. And, I remember him coming over when, like, the second Mortal Kombat came out. We were still playing it on Sega and shit.
Right. Love Sega.
Yeah, man. So I've known Ryan forever. So anyway, we get a little older and we're skateboarding. And I'm hanging out at Ryan's place more and more. And, eventually, Owen and Ryan hung out, and just naturally we met. And back then, Owen was still playing drums. I'm sure you remember.
Yes. Owen is a drummer.
Oh,
I
I
don't
know.
even know if I've mentioned that
I
to
know.
you.
I
Yeah,
never
yeah,
knew
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only met him. I met him like twice.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I had no idea. It was
Yeah, he was pretty damn good back then. I told him he's got to pick it back up, but, he's got a life, and everybody's got to work. So, yeah, that's how I know Owen.
That's
So
incredible.
I've known him probably since I was 13.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. We've jammed together.
That's awesome.
Played drums together, skated together.
Did you
probably got high together?
Did you live in the neighborhood?
Well, sorta.
That neighborhood where like Owen's dad lived.
Yeah.
Owen's mom lives right around the corner. Ryan's parents live there. That's
Right.
the neighborhood that I lived in.
Yeah,
next
yeah,
door
yeah.
to Owen.
Yeah. I like it back
Well,
there.
what's funny?
Yeah.
What's funny is where Davis texts me that night, and he's going, "Do you know Stamboni?" Question mark. All right. Now I am a 98 Rock Morning Show listener. Like every morning since when they did the transition, like I was listening to the Flapjack and the Pickle.
Same, man.
And like people around me were furious. Like I listened all the time. So when he said Stamboni, I go, well, Joe Stamboni? Because it was just so random and weird. And he's like, yeah. And because he is a local music guy. He listens to WTMD a lot.
Yeah.
So he doesn't, it's not that he doesn't like it, but he's usually not around in the morning shows.
Yeah.
So I'm going, Joe Stamboni, a 98 Rock Morning Show? And he's like, hold on. And then he asks Owen, and he's like, yes. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, that's fun. I said, well, he's a drummer, you know? And so it all just
Owen told all this to me. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like,
right. It was just serendipity, if you will. I love that.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome.
So let me ask you this. Are you a lifer, or like what's your history with the instrument? If you
yeah, so a little backstory. My dad was a drummer, and growing up there was always drums in the house. And I guess naturally or unnaturally, me just trying to be different and be myself, I started playing guitar when I was like 7. And you fucked around with the guitar, probably, played in a few bands and got halfway decent at it. And then around like 14 or 15, I was playing in bands, and I was trying to play like some pop punk shit or something. And all the drummers I was playing with, like, they couldn't. Well, I was playing with like one drummer,
right?
Like I was still young. I was probably 12, 13. I hadn't really gotten out of the neighborhood much. I was playing with like one guy, and he couldn't like nail down like just a simple rock beat, boom, 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 whatever. So I started playing one day, and it was just like my goal to just learn like a simple rock beat so I could play a rock song.
Right.
And then I don't know, something happened and I liked it, and I just I honed in on it and stopped playing guitar really around probably 15 and just focused strictly on drums. And I would come home from school every day in like 10th grade and just play drums.
Were you in band at school or no?
No, I wasn't. I didn't really get into band, honestly, because back then I didn't think it was cool.
Sure.
Right? Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Both my kids are in the St.
Right.
Ursula band.
Yeah,
One plays
that's
the
awesome.
one does the specials, which is the drums, but he's in the back, and then my other son's a flute player that's starting to get
Yeah,
good.
but you remember up
Like-
until American Pie, everybody thought band
Well,
was
Drumline too. Drumline put like a lot of
Drumline
like that's
and
one
American
of Amanda's
Pie.
favorite fucking
Yeah,
movies.
Great
Drumline's
Drumline.
sick.
great movie.
But yeah,
Funny story about that. I played for maybe 6 months. I played sax in the
Nice.
St. Ursula's band.
that's awesome.
And I think I was in like 4th grade, and I was such an asshole even back then. I only did it to get out of class. And I learned, like, I would go home and I would fuck around with it, and I learned like Wild Thing or like, just some shit that I wanted to learn that was easy enough, but not like hot cross buns.
Right.
Or some Christmas shit that they were trying to teach us so that we played the whatever they call it,
Recitals or
Recital,
whatever.
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Like
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, when we had those recitals, I was expected to play this. I don't know. I knew none of the songs, so I would just sit there and fake play.
I mean, could you make a sax work at all?
Yeah,
Or were
no,
you
I could make it work, but I just never learned anything we were supposed to
So
learn.
it's
Gotcha.
impressive.
I didn't
Their
last.
teacher, Miss Wagland, I doubt she wasn't there when you were there. But
No, I had a guy.
What she can do
Sounds weird.
in 2 weeks with children that have never played an instrument is fucking fascinating.
Well, that's a good indictment.
Like we go to this band competition
at
at Hershey every year.
Mm-hmm.
They probably been doing that forever, and she wins every year. Like they won last year, first
awesome.
place overall, and then in their category.
Yeah.
Nice.
But like we go to these recitals, and like the beginner band plays, and you're like this. I mean, it's not great, but you're like, these kids have never played an instrument before.
Yeah.
But then by the time Garrett and Lincoln's band, which is the symphonic band, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
They've come a long way.
Fucking good.
You can see the progress.
But
this dude we had didn't give a
all the
shit.
kids have to carry that shit because of the kids that are faking.
Yeah.
That are just
Yeah.
holding the instrument going
That's
through
me.
the motions. It's gotta happen.
I think what happened was I wanted to play guitar. Like they had like acoustic guitar, but only like one or two people could do it. And he didn't give it to me, so that was just like, me rebelling.
You were like, fuck.
Yeah,
you.
like I still want to get out of class, so sax is cool.
So when you got home, did you ever take lessons or were you self-teaching?
Sax lessons or drum lessons?
Drum lessons.
Drum lessons. So, no, I've taken like one or two lessons, maybe a handful, 5 lessons or less over the years. So yeah, I'm primarily self-taught, but.
And you had the old man around. Did he give you any guidance or was he not?
Yeah, but again, he was trying to teach me like technique and like rudiments and stressing. You should learn rudiments, and all this. I'm like, dude, no. We would argue. We would argue all the time.
What are rudiments?
What are rudiments?
I don't know. I'm not a musician.
Right.
I'm
speaking.
I'm speaking for the
good because I don't know the
non-music.
proper
I don't even know
definition.
what a rudiment is.
So a rudiment in anything, but in drumming specifically, there were 26 rudiments that they came up with after the Civil War. When they came back from the Civil War, drumming was shit. Before the Civil War, drumming was relegated to the churches and the battlefield, and nobody knew how to work them.
Throwing fear into your enemies.
Right, and nobody knew how to work them. So after the Civil War, all the drummers came back, and people like Stoltzman, Moeller, and all these guys that developed these techniques were next door neighbors to these old drummers. And these guys would start coming out and they'd play whatever and make their drums work. And they wrote down, 26 rudiments.
So is that
it started
like
with
every
26.
drummer like is supposed to learn?
It's sort of like how like guitar players or any sort of like scales, basically for like a melodic instrument.
Yeah. Right.
They're basically scales for like a drummer,
right?
Just to like tighten your shit.
Right.
Up, so.
It's like 26 patterns that if you just go over that and nothing else and just spend time on that, you'll become an incredible snare drummer, in a heartbeat. And then you can apply those to your full body.
Right.
Left, right, left, right, right, left, right, and then so it became that it's way past 26 nowadays and everything like that. But ironically, if you do spend time with those rudiments, you're a nasty player.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's,
Yeah, I think I know like 3.
Right. Well,
I mean,
right. It's like
besides some other shit like flams and stuff. I don't really count that, but single stroke, double stroke, paradiddle, maybe a double paradiddle or something. Some flams, they get absolutely insane.
Right.
Like, it's for a lot of like I think it was like you said, it was for like Civil War and almost like jazz drumming shit. But some of this stuff is like,
It's overkill. Right. Some of it.
Yeah. I would love to find a way to use it, but double Radamacue.
Oh man,
I'm just talking about my ass,
double flam. No, there's a pataflafla. Yeah, there's one called a pataflafla.
yeah. The names get insane.
They're Civil War terms.
Yeah, they're like there's 2 double paradiddles, a pataflafla, and a double Radamacue.
Civil War
like,
terminology.
How are we gonna name these? Just, what does it sound like?
right.
Was your dad in bands?
Oh yeah, he played in bands around Baltimore since the 60s,
right?
Really, and he played all the way up till he was probably 70 almost. He just died. We talked about it earlier, last year. It's all good. It happens. But he was 75 when he died, so he played the last 5 years.
What was his style? Did he have a genuine like?
He played, given the time and everything, he played in a lot of cover bands. That's how, he did that full time sometimes and traveled and made all of his money doing that because I guess back then there was good money in it before DJs and everything.
Right.
But yeah, he played in bands. He traveled. He was he did it full time, and his style was more just like I would say his influences were like Zeppelin and the Who and Cream and who else did he like? Just that classic rock shit.
Nice. Did that rub off on you?
Oh hell yeah, definitely 100%. Yeah, when I first started, like I said, I was playing guitar and then I switched to drums. And when I first started playing drums, the big thing was, and you asked about him teaching me shit. Past the rudiments, it was always the Bonham triplet, on good times, bad times, and like
that's his boy.
Yeah. Me and my buddies would just like sit there, like, how the fuck do you do this?
Right.
And back then, it was tough, but
And he taught you that?
He didn't teach it to me because to him that was like mystical.
Right.
Like, oh my God, how does he do it with one foot?
Right. It's all about starting with the left.
Yeah, but he exposed me to it and opened me up to it, and like I do credit him, and even my mom too, is giving me really good taste of music. They were always listening to like Yes and Zeppelin and Cream, all that classic rock shit. Progressive classic rock stuff. So.
And were they encouraging of your musical endeavors, or did it worry them?
In a way, they were like 50-50 with it. They definitely, supported me, helped me out getting kits and, guitars or whatever it may be when I was young and didn't have money and shit. But when I got older and like really wanted to do it for like a lifestyle.
Right.
Of course, my mom hated that shit. She wanted me to get like, a full-time job working at some utility and, a simple, safe career path.
Sure.
Playing drums and being a musician is definitely not that.
Yeah, and it's a risk. And if you're a parent, it is a tough one. I mean, I'm a parent, and it's like, it's got to be tough to just... it's not even allowing it, because it's like, what can you do? But it's like
just making it as a musician.
No, just as like if your kid wants to just go down a path that is a risk, like being a musician.
Yeah.
You got to be a little bit worried about it.
Yeah.
Just to be practical, or else you don't care.
Yeah, I don't have any kids, so I don't know what I would do, but it's a tough one, man. It's just, I guess you just got to make them aware that like, they're gonna be broke as fuck,
right?
And like get used to not having shit.
Yeah.
If you really believe in the art, you'll figure out a way to deal with it.
We're all in this together, kids.
Yeah.
Well, so okay, so how do you know so much? Do you have a degree in audio, or are you just winging it?
No, I don't have a degree, but I went to school. I have a certification.
Gotcha.
In audio engineering. Went to school for audio engineering. Went out on the road doing it
in
few times.
Chicago?
So I started doing it before that. I was living in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I was living with my buddy Steve. Shout out Steve Sullivan. What's this band? Sound Destroyer. Check him out.
Sound Destroyer. That's a great name.
Yeah, it's a great name. It's like some dub reggae shit. I play drums on some of it. We're actually working on a song now. Should be out sooner than later.
Nice.
Anyway, so we were living together in Wilmington, and he's like a pro-ass sound guy. He's like out on the road working with bands and shit like that. And I went to school, got a certification for it, but wasn't really applying it. I still I always wanted to play music. I wanted to perform. I wasn't really into like audio and the behind the scenes shit. But as you get older and you need to make money, there's definitely opportunities and more money.
And you probably naturally developed an ear and an opinion about audio over the years of doing it yourself.
Sort of. I honestly, I really didn't pay attention. I didn't give a shit. I was more just like into just like let's fucking go.
Right, you're like, turn the knob and let's go.
I just wanted to play. But yeah, no. As I needed to start making money and figuring out what the fuck I was gonna do with my life. I was living with Steve, and he taught me a lot, and I took what he taught me. I was working at a couple clubs in Wilmington, and there just wasn't much opportunity there, and I had broken up. Well, this girl had broken up with me, and
loser.
I know, fucked me up. Did not see it coming, and so I wanted to get out of there. Even I loved Wilmington. It's a beautiful place. It was
At
fun.
this point, were you playing and doing audio, or were you
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Playing and doing audio. Steve and I actually were playing in a band together, living together, and doing audio and stuff. Just doing the whole thing. And then so chick breaks up with me. And
Sorry.
You went back to it.
She breaks up with me. I'm devastated.
Right.
Had no fucking plans or anything. So I had a good friend of mine, like best friend growing up. He lived like right behind me and stuff. He was living in Chicago doing like advertising shit. And he was like, dude, just come stay with me. You can live on my couch and like
Nice.
figure it out and just get a job or whatever. So I was like, fuck it. I don't have anything to lose. I was probably like 28 or 29 at the time. And so I left Wilmington, went out to Chicago, and I got there. I was living on his couch.
How's Chicago?
Chicago is fucking awesome.
Have you never been to Chicago?
I flew. I like
You
had
flew
a
over it?
No,
Oh,
I
you
had to
a
stop.
layover.
Yeah, a layover in
Yeah,
Chicago,
no,
but I
right.
never
Chicago's
got out.
cool.
Chicago, yeah. I mean, it's a love-hate thing living there, but overall the experience was fucking great.
I went to
don't
a
regret it
wedding
at all.
there in 2009.
Yeah, I've so I move out there, sleeping on my buddy's couch. The whole story is him and his girlfriend were living in this place, and their lease was about to be up, so they were going to move into a new place, and their lease was going to be up in like 2 weeks. So I had to move there and get a job, and like be able to pay X number of dollars a month for rent in like 2 weeks.
Oh,
So it might have been 3 weeks, but it was quick. It
The
was like
heat's over.
September 10th I got there, and their lease was up October 1st. So I get there, I'm looking for jobs. I'm like skateboarding around the neighborhood and just like I couldn't find shit really. I mean, I applied to a bunch of different places, ended up hearing back from a couple of them. Long story short, I get a job delivering fucking pizza or some shit
Nice.
at this place. I go out to make my first delivery, and I get a call back from this live sound production company, Midwest Pro Sound and Lighting. And I go there and have an interview with them. And it's like this smaller place. It's not like big factory or like corporation or anything. It's like this small. It's a DJ shop up front, and they're like selling like DJ equipment, but they also have like synthesizers and shit. And their main source of income is like providing live sound gear to all the parties and shit that go on in Chicago. And so
which is a lot.
yeah. And especially where I lived, it was in Lakeview, which is, well, I didn't live in Lakeview. I actually lived in what was called Boys Town. So Boys Town.
Did you ever
Town-
tell the 98 Rock guys that?
Yeah, I think we've talked. Actually, I don't know if we've really gotten into
For
it
Christ's
much, but
sake.
I lived in
Boys
Town, which is like it's the same neighborhood as like Wrigleyville,
Right.
which is a great neighborhood.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
awesome. But it is Boys Town. It is like notoriously a gay neighborhood.
Wow.
And
That's all.
so, long story short, like there was parties all the time, and we would provide the audio shit for all these parties. And it was a lot of DJs and shit, but I learned a ton about live sound. And I was working at night, so I worked there during the day, and then I was working at night doing live sound at this place called Uncommon Ground. It was a cool little it was like jazzy. Sometimes it was like smaller, jazzier shit. But
Any heavy hitters come through there? Just local acts?
I did sound for the Foo Fighters. Played
Nice.
Wrigley. They played Wrigley, and Chris, what's the dude's name? Chris something from the Foo Fighters did like an acoustic performance there, and I got to do sound for him.
That's all.
And there was also like there was just like a ton of cool like Chicago like jazz bands and shit, just like mixing like hip hop and funk and all this crazy shit. But there was definitely some cool music that came through there. So anyway, lived out there for like 4 or 5 years, and worked in studios doing like recording shit, and I worked with this one guy. It was like another DJ thing. He had this this DJ spot that he would do. It was like an hour-long thing he would do with that dude Pitbull.
Yeah.
And
like Fireball.
Yeah, like
that dude, like Fireball.
Your band does a
we do a good Fireball cover. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Dude, he's in an 80s cover band. We'll
no shit.
Dude, yeah, it's so
awesome.
fun.
And they're
so
fucking
crazy.
That's like a dream come true.
It's
man.
so
they're
fun,
so fucking
it's
good.
So
yeah,
fun.
that's fucking cool. Yeah, so anyway, long story short, I was doing a bunch of shit there in audio, and really just like got into it, like recording and live sound. And I was just surrounded by a bunch of people who have been doing it for a while and knew a bunch of stuff, and they were teaching me. I was learning shit all over the place.
You're just absorbing wisdom.
Yeah. So I did that. I was doing that up until like COVID. COVID happens, and obviously there's no like shit happening.
Everybody got shut down.
Right. So at the beginning of that, I knew I felt some shit was gonna happen, like, because they were like, oh, it's only gonna be 2 weeks, and I'm like, dude, I don't think this is gonna be 2 weeks. So anyway, around June, like COVID, they officially announced it in March. Around June, I moved back to Baltimore. It was like probably 3 or 4 years ago, and bought a little house in Parkville, and just slowly have been.
And you had never thought about doing like a morning show or like a radio play.
Yeah, did you just apply at 98 Broad? Or have you moved up?
Sort of. I literally dreamed like, oh, it would be super cool to be like the 98 Rock morning show producer. You know, like we were saying before, like I've been listening to Justin Scott and Spiegel since day one, and before that, when like, you know, it was Mickey Amelia and Spiegel, and Mickey was out all the time, and Justin was filling in for him, and like then Mickey quits, and it was like 2 weeks, and we were sitting around like, who's the new show gonna be? Who the fuck's it gonna be? And they come out with that flapjack and pickle shit, whatever.
Oh my God!
So yeah, it always like I had been driving around, and when I lived in all these different places, I had always like listened to that show, and it like connected me to home a little bit. Right. And like I would just listen on the app or like shit they loaded to SoundCloud or whatever, just the clips from the day. And yeah, so it's always like something I had thought about, but once COVID happened and it kind of knocked me out of what I was doing a little bit, it gave me some time to kind of think shit over a little differently. And so to answer your question, I did just apply to 98 Rock, but it was for a lesser position. I started out as what they call a promotions assistant, and we won't get into the actual duties behind it, because you're supposed to just like be giving out like foam fingers at Ravens games and shit like that. But I was running like all the game day, like Ravens Day, on Ravens Walk. When it was a home game, we would be set up out there doing a live broadcast. Right. So I take this promo position, and I'm doing like the live broadcast for the Ravens, and I'm doing that. I do that for like one whole.
You mean like you're on the air?
No. I wasn't on the air. I was just producing them, like off air. So I would like. We would get all the gear. We would head down there. I would wire everything, set it up so that like there was a show happening up on the stage, and then I was like on the side of the stage, just like making sure all the shit was working. So I did that for a whole Ravens season, and then after like 7 or 8 months, there was an opening for an assistant producer for Justin Scott and Spiegel. So I applied for that. Which wasn't the first time I applied. So I think when I originally applied, when I got the promo position, I applied because there was an opening, again, as an assistant producer for the morning show. I applied for that and got, like, passed over to promo. Right. Because with my experience or whatever, they were like, oh, I think you'd be better doing this shit. Right. So anyway, there's an opening again. After
you got to stop moving that. It's probably going to drive the producer, Chris, crazy.
Yeah. Sorry, Chris.
If you're tapping
Sorry, Chris.
He's going to go.
Good ear. Good call.
I I couldn't hear it.
Well, I don't know. I just know him,
you're
and I
right.
know
You're
he's probably
absolutely
up there
right.
going, okay, just, you know,
Yeah, you're
But
you
right.
can't just sit there and tap that thing. You
I
just can't.
would be pissed off too. I'm sorry, Chris. So I apply again. I get the position that time. I worked as the assistant producer for about a year. The producer they had left for another job, and I had to apply and like compete against.
I was
other
going to say,
people.
is that intense?
Do they interview? Did you get interviewed by those three?
So I got interviewed by those three guys and the head program director, the executive producer, Rick.
Hey, Rick. Listen, let me ask you this. You're telling me Spiegel interviewed you?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I guess it went well.
That had to be.
It didn't. It went horribly.
I was going to say, it had to be so uncomfortable.
It went horribly. So it went so bad, and I guess they liked me so much and wanted, the first one, it went so bad they gave me a second interview. They're like, dude, like we really like you. We want this
you
to
to
work out.
redo it.
Yeah, we're gonna give you a redo on that. And like Justin coached me through. He's like, do this, don't do this. One of the major things he said. Sorry, Chris. Don't cuss. I went in there. I'm just like cuss, like we're hanging out, just
Sure.
like, oh, you know this bullshit, and you know oh, I'm fucking thinking we do this, and we can change this shit around a little bit, and like, yeah. So, and they wanted like a legit, real interview.
Right.
Well, that's the thing is, I bet you behind closed doors in interviews, they were probably rather professional. I know
Well, it was all
Justin.
business.
yeah.
At that
Yeah.
point, it was like,
I know Scott's serious as a
Right.
heart attack. I know Justin takes it seriously. And Spiegel, I would imagine, is rather serious.
Oh, yeah.
Like when it's, when it's go time.
Yeah,
professionals.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, even in that capacity, I feel
he
like
just kicked
it
open the
would-
door. I was like, what the fuck's up?
Pretty much. Like, all right, so let's
what
start
are we
this
doing
he
fucking-
said,
now?
all right,
Let's
guys,
start-
let's grab balls.
Let's talk
here."
about what we're going to
Right.
be doing here.
That's
you
fucking
motherfuckers.
Yeah, but I almost would be more intimidating to me if all of a sudden I was in a room with them being serious. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
yeah,
because-
totally threw me off.
absolutely.
Yeah, I thought it was just like,
Flapjack
shoo-in,
in the
dude.
pickle.
Like, yeah, just like shooing, like, oh, I've been here for a year, like, it'll be no thing. I'll get this no problem. And no, I had to fight for it, man.
Well, that's good. That builds
It's
character.
awesome that they
you know?
gave you the second,
No, it
second
is.
shot.
Well,
to
they
this
must
film.
have really dug your vibe, or like,
Yeah.
Or they didn't like the other applicants.
Yeah.
or they didn't.
There it
like the
is.
other applicant.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a lot of it. That is a lot of it.
That's so funny.
I guess we'll never know who they were.
Yeah. Hey, before I get too far away from the drum stuff, what do you use? Like, what gear do you use now? What's your current set? Like,
My current set is a kit that I've played for probably like 20 years, honestly. I mean, I have other kits, but I've always just come back to this one.
right.
It is a Ludwig. It's a vintage Ludwig. What is it? It's a classic. I forget what the hell they're called officially, but 24-inch.
Oh, it's this. Is it the silver?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
yeah.
beauty.
Yeah, but I have a whole kit.
Right.
Yeah, so 24 by 14 kick, 13 by 10 mounted tom, and 16 by 16 floor tom.
Nice.
Just classic sizes as far as the toms. Kick's a little bigger.
Yeah, that's a hardy
yeah.
kick.
But it really, when I was like younger and stuff, like I was obviously really influenced by a lot of drummers that used fucking 24 and 26-inch
Sure.
six drums, between John Bonham and John Theodore and fucking, countless others. But
Right.
I was always trying to use a big kick drum, and I was just like, oh, fucking big kick drum, that's cool. But it wasn't until I got into like doing live sound and shit that I really realized that it's very depending on what you're trying to play. Like I was so stupid. I was like 21 or 22 and I played in I know it's not politically correct, but I call them white boy reggae bands.
Nice.
I was playing like, I was playing in these reggae bands it was like hip back then. I don't want to name names, but you probably know
Reggae drumming is
Sublime-ish,
slick drumming.
but nowhere near as good. So we were doing pretty decent, and we were traveling all over the place, whatever. But I was trying to play like classic rock size drums in a reggae band.
Yeah, that 24.
And I just didn't understand like the frequency dynamics and how like the bass guitar in certain genres has to take up, the sub frequencies that a big kick drum is going to give you, which is good in rock music because you have that space to fill up because the bass,
Right.
So as I've gotten older, it's depending on what band I'm playing with, depending on what song I'm playing, it varies pretty much every week.
And what about cymbals? Are you a cymbal snob? Or
Yeah, well, no, I mean, if I had more money, I would definitely be a cymbal snob. But I've always just used like Zildjian. I really like I like the Istanbul. I don't have the money for like a full set of them. They're so.
Can you imagine how
Do you
expensive
play every day?
Hell no. No. I did when I was younger. I would play, like literally every day.
Like he has to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
The
Joe,
therapy.
eventually, I want to ask you about psychedelics.
Perfect.
I've heard you mention it on the air, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you, because the other two drummers, great guys, but I don't, I don't want to parse that topic with people. I just don't want to put them in that situation.
Right.
But you have spoken about it. So.
Yeah.
But what's your experience with psychedelics? Like
with psychedelics,
like what have you used?
Experience.
Weed, mushrooms, acid. What is that shit called? Salvia.
Salvia.
You ever fucking smoke salvia?
God.
That is probably the most intense shit I've ever
That is the
done.
weirdest
It's
shit. I
upsetting.
remember
It's
like
upsetting.
I hit that in my basement.
Yeah.
And was sitting on my couch and ultimately thought I was sitting outside in my driveway.
So listen,
that's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah,
It was the most realistic, me sitting in my driveway, and then finally you like just come down and you're sitting on your couch like, fuck, I thought I was sitting outside this whole time.
2001.
Wild shit.
2001, I'm living with Jeff Myers.
And that shit was legal. You could just buy it in a fucking gas station.
Shout out Jeff Myers, my boy Jeff, and he smoked some salvia, and all of a sudden he goes into the other room, and from the other room, this is what I hear. You better run, Lepo! You better run as fast as you fucking can! And I'm out in the room going, what the fuck is going on? I open up the door. He's locked himself in the bathroom. He's lost his mind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck?
For like 5 minutes.
Yeah. And then after like 3 minutes, he
Well,
comes out.
3,
He's
yeah.
like, oh my God, I was tripping so
Yeah,
hard.
it could have been it could have
Yeah.
been 30 seconds. I don't fucking know. I have no idea.
Yeah. No, I had
It was wild.
the most intense experience like in my life probably from psychedelics. I hit it like my buddies that it was like, they got the 10x and the 30x and the 50x and they got the strongest shit there was. And like I think we tried it once through a bowl and I felt it a little bit, and then he packed a bong hit with it, and like I ripped the whole bong hit.
Damn, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's hardcore.
Dude, that's gotta- yeah.
Never did that.
Yeah.
Done
So
some crazy-
I ripped the whole bong hit of this like 30x fucking salvia, and I sat down. I had enough time to like go sit down. I sit down in this chair, and I just like I fell backwards through the chair, and I could just like see the faces of everybody in the room. Like my vision just narrowed to like this much. And I started going through like tubes like I was in fucking Mario or something.
Right.
And I came out and like everybody's face in the room was on like this crazy like, you know that ride the zipper?
Mm-hmm.
It fucking flips around. Like their faces were on this fucking thing. And then I like come to and I'm like standing in the room and I can kind of see the room, but like colors are taking up like all types. It was just so fucking weird. And then I started to see my friends' faces again, and I could see their bodies, and they were all just like staring at me, and I couldn't see any expression on their face. I just saw them staring at me because I probably looked like a crazy person.
But you probably didn't.
Yeah, I did. I was probably just standing there, just
right.
like. So I thought we died. I thought like. Wow, I just thought that like somebody dropped like a nuclear bomb on Baltimore, and this was the afterlife, and they all knew, and they wouldn't tell me,
Right.
and I just started thinking like, oh, I didn't get to say goodbye to my parents, I didn't get to say, like
Right.
whatever, and it was like this crazy fucking trip.
I mean,
man.
that's a great
Happened in like
description.
5
That's a
minutes.
good one. Yeah.
I mean,
5
that's
minutes.
you're right.
And I'll
Like,
never forget it.
yeah.
Like one time, I'm good.
So
Yeah.
you've never experimented with drumming and psychedelics?
I have. I recently, I had a little mushroom tea.
Nice.
Wasn't a huge dose, probably just like 2 grams, but it was in some tea with like some lemon and shit, which is supposed to make it stronger. And I think it did, because I wasn't expecting to have the experience I did off of just that little amount.
Well, the tea making is tricky. Sometimes, if your ratio's off, or it's like.
Well, I don't make it. I don't want to incriminate anybody, but I have a good friend that makes it.
You have it made.
Yeah. I have it prepared. And so I drink it not expecting, like, I thought I was just going to like kind of hang out and I drank it at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I think honestly, I had a party to go to that day at like 4 or like 6, I think. And I was like, oh, I'll drink this. And then like, it'll just be like 3 or 4 hours. I'll be fine. And then I'll go to this party at 6. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. It wasn't 4 or 5 hours, and I didn't make it to the party. I was probably 8 hours, and it was pretty intense. Anyway, long story short, I had taken shrooms a bunch, not a bunch, but a dozen times as like a kid, and had never I lived with my parents, and like I would go out at night and take them, and never had the opportunity to really play drums and really try to do it.
Right.
So this was like the first experience I had doing it, like as an adult and stuff, and it was fucking awful. Dude, it was so bad.
Listen,
like I was trying to just play. I think I put on like some Steely Dan or some shit.
Oh, well, that apparently that's like the hardest shit you could possibly choose.
Well, in that situation,
in a way, probably.
yes,
Yeah.
it's not
So
the best one to,
I think I
to
tried like
relax into.
King Crimson.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, I mean, well, look, you're going Bill Bruce, you're going hard. You got to go more relaxed, baby.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. So, anyway, like my coordination was so fucked up. I was trying to hit the hi-hat, my foot was like a half a second later, and like the music felt like it was like speeding up and slowing down and like I couldn't like keep time whatsoever. It was not the experience I was hoping for.
Okay, so Lo, let me give you a couple anecdotes to feel better about. One is even Jerry, like Garcia used to say, mixing psychedelics and music is a dangerous game, because it either is symbiosis and it's the most incredible magical experience you could ever have in your entire life, or you can't handle it. Like it's overwhelming and it's a shit sandwich. So that being said, I would encourage, in legal matters.
Yeah, of course.
Trying it again at some point responsibly and easing into it, thinking more along a tribal vibe.
Yeah.
Because it really does matter. Now, well, that's not, I mean, that's good shit, because I love psychedelics and any good story.
Well, to your point about tribal, like drumming and shit like that, the one thing I could play that like felt good was just like a buzz roll. I was just playing a buzz roll.
Right?
Yeah, dude, I would just play a buzz roll, and like I could hear like the different tonation, and if like I started playing it a little harder.
Did you
softer.
look at your sticks?
No, I had my eyes closed.
Dude.
Yeah.
So look, I'm not I'm not a lunatic. I mean, you know, I'm slightly a lunatic. I used to be a lunatic, but I'm not. But I'm a seeker. Okay.
Yeah.
And I've been seeking a drum story since 2000. And, you know, I just want to start trying to get a different light on drumming. You know, I feel like most people take drums for granted, and they don't realize that there is something very heavy there. And
for
He
sure.
wants
The history-
everyone in the world to play the drums.
well, like
I can talk about
literally.
this for days.
yeah, and like,
Literally.
you know, I'm not sure how much, you know, you've looked into it or whatever, but it's like, you know, drums are the oldest instrument.
Yeah.
You know, if you believe in the Big Bang, bang, audible, your heart is
and
beating.
the women were the first drummers.
Women were the first drummers.
I didn't know that.
Okay, so listen, in antiquity, pre-Christian,
If it's pre-Christian, I can't handle it. You're gonna have to leave.
So dig this. I'm talking about like through evolution, like even before like we're civilized.
Yeah.
You know, the moon, you know, was the light of the night, and when a woman was pregnant, her
Yeah.
belly, they would be like, oh, belly, moon, belly, and they would give birth, and they
Yeah.
would be like, the moon and the women are godly.
Right.
Okay. So women, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but like through grain sieves and stuff like that, they started developing rhythm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
And
can see
women
that.
were the first drummers. It's like,
Interesting.
so
There's a book.
there's
yeah,
a
there-
book.
there's a
When
book.
the women were drummers.
No shit.
Yeah, there's a few books on this topic, but the point is that drums are way, way old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
they've come from that time all the way through all the tribes, all the civilizations to America.
Yeah.
And then the drum set was just made in
Right.
the
It
30s.
it started with the frame drum.
Right. It all started with the frame drum. And the reason why I'm going into all this is because there was a book that came out in 2018 called The Immortality Key.
Yeah.
And it was this Catholic lawyer, priest. Like he's
Well,
an
no, he
ordained.
wasn't. He was just a.
Well, he was a cat.
yeah,
like
yeah.
he's ordained in Jesuit. He's a
Right.
Jesuit guy.
Yeah.
He has never taken a psychedelic in his life,
Uh-huh.
and he was like very intrigued about these stories of pre-Christianity and the bread and the body of Dionysus,
Yeah.
which was pre-Christianity, and how those ceremonies lined up with the ceremonies of the Eucharist of Christianity.
Yeah.
Now, keep in
But
mind,
those were psychedelic ceremonies. They were psychedelic
Right.
ceremonies.
So
where
the
instead of the
pre-dine-
body and blood of Christ, they were drinking the mushroom tea.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but the point of all this is the people that ran those ceremonies were Maenad women,
Right.
and they were frame drummers.
Yeah. Yeah. And not to completely change subject, but to go back to psychedelics for
Okay.
a second. I have definitely had incredible experiences listening to drumming on psychedelics.
Right.
Performing though hasn't been the greatest yet, but we will keep,
Well,
keep
so-
pursuing that. So I definitely I'm 100% with you that drumming can take you on some sort of mystical fucking journey.
Like, so here's the deal. Like, right now there's a big phenomenon drumming for healing. Like, they're
Yeah.
going around to like senior centers, and it's hand drumming and it's tribal drumming.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to that, man. It's a very heavy thing. And one other thing about the psychedelic, first of all, I just feel like does anybody know, like, why doesn't the culture at large, like with the push for like women are great, why don't more women realize that they were the original drummers and, you know, like take that up? I feel
I
like
don't
it's
think it's common knowledge.
Yeah.
it's-
I did not know until right now.
yeah. Well, it's like I want to
Very
start
interesting.
leading that charge, and I
Yeah.
want to start leading a charge of like think about what you're sitting on. You know, like if you're there and life's stressing you out, these patterns are ancient.
Yeah.
And if you listen, it does soothe you. And I hate sounding like a lunatic foo-foo.
Oh, dude, you're not a lunatic. No,
but
not at all.
there is something to it. And I want to be the leader of this charge because it's going to come around. I mean...
Okay, so back to psychedelics for a second.
Please, I could talk about them all. No, I
forgot ecstasy as well.
Of course.
I was young, and this was before Molly and all this newfangled shit.
Right.
Mild Molly.
Yeah, haven't really got into that. But ecstasy, yeah, when I was younger, a few times. But the experience that created, I don't know what the hell it was in the pill that they gave me, but I remember sitting in my friend's basement and just listening to his mom was fucking doing laundry or something, and we're sitting there on ecstasy with like the lights off. I don't think she knew what was going on.
Sure.
We were just listening to music or hanging out or whatever. But the trance, that the sound of the drying machine put me just the dun 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 dun, and I was,
you couldn't get out of it,
dude. But no, it created like it did something to me, man. It created like this whole crazy like hallucination I had, but it was like this calming thing that like when I started, freaking out a little bit, I could always come back.
You honed in on that.
Yeah, the rhythm of that fucking drying machine just bouncing around.
Think about the rhythm of nature.
Yeah.
Go with your gut. That's your
yeah.
body rhythm. They're talking about string theory right now, which has to do, now it's just a theory, but it has to do with your body reacting vibrantly to situations.
Who's they?
Science at large, string theory, string theorists are,
theoretical physicists.
Let's go with theoretical physicists. It's not my department.
No.
But I do know that it has to do with vibrations and rhythm. And, you get a lot of people that insult drummers and they're like, oh, drummer's not a musician, whatever. There can be no melody. Melody lays over the rhythm.
Yeah.
Rhythm is everything.
Well, I would say drummers carry the rhythm of any band.
Well, they do, but there's a joke, a fun joke that other musicians make where they're like, well, there's 3 musicians and a drummer. It's like they act like if you play drums, you're just this primate heathen that just whatever. When in reality, you have the cosmos at your calling.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, if you summon it correctly.
If you summon it correctly. Now, wait, damn. So, okay, so going back to the immortality key, right? Okay, so the immortality key, the guy that wrote it, the reason I'm telling you all this is because he went into this whole realm of searching this out, and he went into the pre-Christianity ceremonies. I, seeking what I'm seeking, emailed him and was like, do you have any literature on early shamanism or drumming or anything like that? Because all the people that you're talking about, with these ceremonies were frame drummers.
Yeah.
And, and so drums and psychedelics were a key linchpin to the spirituality of Western culture. Now that can be said. I love Christianity. I love Jesus. I'm not saying that I'm not disparaging any of this.
Pre-Jesus, it happened.
This is all antiquity, and I'm not saying one can't exist without the other, but I am saying that I'm trying to yell this story out to try to get this conversation starting, that drums can be more than just noise.
Yeah.
That dude's answer to that email was, yes, I do, and here it is.
Yeah, he sent me, Brian Marescu, the author of The Immortality Key,
all his documentation.
sent me all these PDFs on early shamanism,
He's like, talk about it. It's
he said, he literally said, it's a most worthy endeavor. Let me know if I can help you.
Dude. So I don't know if you know, I'm a big fan of the Mars Volta. Big fan of John Theodore in particular.
Oh my God.
He's like one of my biggest influences. But reading an interview as like a 16-year-old or something, he did an interview when Deloused in the Comatorium first came out, and they were asking about his influences. And one of his influences, he says, I think his dad's Haitian or something, was like this shamanistic drumming shit. And he got into like the backstory about how like I think he went to Haiti once and he did this ritual, or I don't know if he did it or he was just talking about it, but like you go into like a dark room and like a completely black room for like a week, and I think all you get is water or some shit, and you start having like these psychedelic experiences.
Talking about the ayahuasca ceremony?
No.
Different?
Go ahead, finish your story, and then
I mean that's pretty much that's it. But the tie between spirituality and drumming is there's definitely something there.
Mm-hmm.
So I read a book called Drumming at the Edge of Magic by Mickey Hart. It's a real good read. It's a great bathroom read. It's not a big book. I have it right here.
Yeah.
But it's a great read. If you've never read it, that put me on the path. Like I read that in 2000 and I drummed 94 to 2000, but from 2000, I read that book on, I've never been the same again. But what happens is in early native cultures, to become a man, they don't have a bar mitzvah. They take, when you're a 13-year-old boy in Indian culture, I don't know if all Indian culture, but in certain Indian cultures, American Indian, they would take the boy to the teepee, they give him a week's worth of water, they build the fire, and they build the fire with peyote.
Yeah.
And he gets, all he has in there is his drum, the rudiments, peyote, and water.
That's fucking
And he drums for 7 days straight.
Yeah.
And what happens is the boy becomes a man. And what the story reports of those tales are, the guys, the young boy comes out and will say, Dad, shit was nuts, and there were dragons, and I just kept drumming, and there was this, and that, and I saw this guy, and describes this guy, and the dad will be like, yeah, that's your grandfather. He was a great drummer, and he would help you out. But that was how they became men. Now, after reading that story in 2001, I'm in a Grateful Dead cover band. I drop a tab of acid. I sit in my bedroom with the lights out, and just sit there drumming for hours, wondering.
Yeah.
And shit goes crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I've had many crazy nights where my sticks have engulfed the entire room. Little beads of my sticks are in the room. I'm totally floating, just totally locked into a rudiment.
Yeah.
And I'm at peace.
Yeah.
And that is where God's realm can or may have originated in antiquity. These people that made ayahuasca, I mean, ayahuasca is the Amazonian psychedelic.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. And it won't work if you just eat it. And the only way it'll work is if you cross it with this thing that'll, your stomach bile eats the shit. And these fuckers figured out in the Amazonian jungle that not only... it won't make you hallucinate if you just eat it. Right. So somebody must have accidentally eaten both of them at the same time and it blew their face off.
Probably multiple times.
Yeah. But it's like that recipe for ayahuasca is way ancient.
Yeah. You could partake in that here.
Well, don't tempt me with a good time.
Dude,
we don't have any in the building, for fuck's sake.
Shit.
No.
Right.
Well, no, I know it's getting
it's
religious
exemptions.
In America.
That's what they have.
Really?
That's how they can do it. Yeah.
No shit.
There's one in Middle River.
Really?
It's sold out. I've looked into it.
Wow. Yeah. No, I've heard people in fucking Hollywood and shit are having healers come to their house and administer it in their fucking house.
Right.
And
I don't have that money.
Yeah. No, but they have a group or something.
Right. Yeah. It's a group of 20 to 25 people.
No shit.
Yeah,
it's on a farm, and it's a farm in Middle River. I mean, they have a website and everything, but they have what is it? I don't know what the title is, but it's a religious.
It's a religious exemption. You can do peyote if you have religious exemption.
There's one in Colombia.
Really?
Yeah. You can. Yeah.
Yeah,
and I looked into it. It's not expensive, and they're sold out for
I guarantee it.
6 months.
That's crazy.
Well, that's why I want to talk about it, because it's coming around to more it's very reasonable.
Hopkins is currently doing.
It's not reasonable, but it's important, and it's not as nutty as
psychedelics for wellness, not just eat
mushrooms.
Right. It's mental health, addiction.
Medical.
It helps with addiction.
Absolutely.
It's.
Right. My whole thing is spirituality and progress. And it does, the studies are showing that there's a lot of potential there. Now, there is also potential for, it's not good business to have like it has to be regulated and stuff like that. I'm not arguing for
even
that kind
from
of
a
stuff.
personal standpoint, it has to be like you have to be. It's setting.
But
Like,
that's the other thing about psychedelics
Like,
is
you have to have a
that
plan.
is that you do it once and then you're good for a minute.
Right,
you know?
right. Have
Well,
you,
that's-
speaking of like addiction and shit like that, I don't know much about it, but like I've seen and heard like people using Ibogaine to treat like opiate addiction.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know how much there is to that, but just the fact that there is something
It's real results.
that can just put like a fucking any time between you using heroin to the next time, that's a good thing.
Yeah, so there's a documentary called Dosed, and it's about a heroin addict who goes to the jungles of Brazil or some shit and does the Ibogaine treatment, and it worked on her.
Yeah.
It's hard. Now keep in mind, this is what it's a weird conundrum because we're not these aren't good times necessarily. Like we're talking about a heroic dose of hardcore psychedelics and getting blown off.
Right.
But coming to catharsis, clarity. And my whole thing with drumming is I practice that way for a long time. Like we went on a nice run there, and I would, I embraced it and was trying to figure out the riddle of rhythm in my head.
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it calms me.
Yeah.
I would be so fucking nuts if I didn't drum every day, at least 40 minutes a day, give my body the break.
Yeah.
And now I know you can't. If you can't, you can't.
I used to. There was definitely periods in my life where I felt the exact same thing.
Right.
And I did it for the exact same reasons. I was just something with rhythm and ghost notes and just trying to solve
right
shit. And just as I've gotten older and gotten this fucking job, man, I'm up at 3:30 in the morning.
Absolutely.
I was
yeah.
going to ask that. What time you get up every day? What time you go to bed?
Shit, man.
Midnight.
2 a.m. No, I'm up at 3:30, typically 3:30, 3:45. And then depending on the day, I'll be in bed anywhere between fucking 4:30 and 8:30.
Nice.
Like usually like I'll get more and more run down as the week progresses.
Definitely.
So like I'll be somewhat refreshed Monday. I'll probably go to bed Sunday night around 8:30. Feel somewhat refreshed Monday. Tuesday, I'm a little bit more tired. I'll probably go to sleep like 7:30 Tuesday. By Wednesday, I'm like fucking dragging, and sometimes, depending on the week, there's been days where I've fucking gone to sleep at like 5:30 and just slept until 3:30 in the morning.
You guys got a lot. Do you do a lot of extracurricular for them, or?
Somewhat. I wouldn't say it's extracurricular, but we do a lot of live broadcasts, a lot more than other shows do, and that's a bit of a pain in the ass because for a typical show, I wake up at 3:30. When we do live broadcasts, I have to wake up at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, and then go to the location we're at, set all the shit up, test the lines, make sure everything's good, set up a PA, make sure that's not feeding back, make sure everything sounds good. And it's so fucking stressful, man. But it's a cool job, so I don't mind it. But so my sleep schedule is all over the fucking place. I just try to sleep when I can.
Don't use heroin for Christmas.
Don't do fucking heroin, guys.
Right.
Especially now. It's fucking fentanyl and xylazine and shit.
I know, man.
There's no reason to fuck around with
Yeah,
it. Don't do
that
pills
shit's
either.
scary.
Pills are all fucked up too.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We here at Sanity Lounge only promote psychedelics and reefer.
I like that.
But
my dad always used to say, if it comes from the earth, if it comes, which
Natural
doesn't make sense
psychedelics.
because fucking opium comes from poppy plants and cocaine comes from.
there's some
Right.
synthesis there.
Yeah, a little
And
bit.
an LSD synthesis.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but the natural the natural psychedelics,
Yeah.
you can't go wrong.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what
you
his
can,
intention
but
was.
it's a good thing. So, are you currently, so on Spotify, these jams. First of all, I love the songs.
Thank
I mean,
you.
I've listened to 3 of them.
Ethereal.
Yeah, they're fucking.
Yeah. It's
Are you? Is it all you?
Yeah.
See, that's nasty, man. That's good.
Oh.
That's why you're not drumming all the time, because you're
Yeah.
doing other instruments.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, great point. It's not all just because I've gotten older. I'm doing a lot more shit now on like the recording side and mixing and helping friends with their projects, and like I get so burnt out on music sometimes, honestly, because I'm fucking always tweaking something or listening to something to mix it or help master it or whatever the fuck it may be. So like honestly, it's one of those things that like it's a dream to be able to say that, but also everything becomes a job at some point.
No,
Unfortunately,
I know that.
You know, even the shit
4
that
of them right now, and 3 are 3
Yeah.
are hobbies.
and it seems like I'll have a passion and I'll go towards that in life, whether it's music, whether it's recording, or whether it's radio and doing shit like that. And I'll get into this shit so much that like I start to not like, or I just need, not that I don't like it, but I just need time.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Well, everything, if it gets overloaded, anything in excess sucks. You know, it's not good for you.
Yeah.
And
So
that goes to job and all.
You're also is early American like current? Or you
Yeah.
guys play?
Yeah. We play. We try to play out like twice a month locally, if we can. We're playing next Friday. We're playing out front of CFG Arena downtown for 98 Rock is having this festival thing called Spring Thing, and they're allowing us to play like out front at like 2:30 in the afternoon.
Really?
When nobody's gonna be there, but
Well, they might be. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, there might be a couple
people.
Yeah.
Cool.
yeah, no, it'll be fun just to play outside and excuse me, see who shows up, and I like performing. So
Yeah, but let me ask you this: are you guys the early American on Spotify or no?
There's like a Jeep on the picture.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, yeah, and
That's
so
the
you
one.
have a girl singer.
Yeah, so those recordings are somewhat old, but we do have a female.
Girl singer.
Yeah,
Is
a
that
woman?
You have a girl singer.
Yeah.
Well,
You're
no,
right.
because
I
Lloyd
love
Davis
female
loves girl
vocalists. I
singers.
love
female
too.
singers.
I do
girl
too.
Like
singers,
more than-
woman singer,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I just love female
Yeah.
vocalists.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I love a band with a good female singer. Yes, there is shared vocal duties. So those recordings, the first album they did, they had an actual singer for the band. There was a front man, like a singer, and then there was a woman that sung as well. Then things changed a little bit. The lead singer dude, he left to do something else. So now the dude who originally started the band, Brendan, who plays guitar, he's singing as well. And there's a woman singer and guitar player,
Nice.
bass player, and I play drums.
Yeah, well, so I heard 2 cuts of that, but that sounds dynamite too. That's
Yeah. That's kind of Brendan's baby. He pretty much does everything with that. He recorded all that shit, and we just come behind him and play his songs live.
Owen was telling me about him too that same night. He said he's nasty.
Dude, Brendan is one of those guys, like, I cite influences like John Theodore and shit like that, but like Brendan is one of those guys that like in my life is like not a mentor, but sort of like a mentor. He's I've known Brendan since I was like 13, and he was probably like 18. And my band at the time, I was playing like that pop punk shit with my buddy Dave, and he was playing drums, I was playing guitar, and Brendan lived like in the woods behind Dave, and we had always we would go out, we would be out in Dave's driveway skateboarding, and we would hear Brendan play the drums, and it was like, holy fuck, this dude is good.
Right.
And like Dave would talk about like, I think I saw that guy that plays the drums, and he's got long hair and he looks crazy. And sure enough, we're playing music one day, And Brendan comes knocking on. We were up in Dave's garage, and Brendan comes knocking on Dave's garage, and we were playing like fucking First Date by Blink-182 or some shit, and Dave couldn't play like the intro part, whatever. So Brendan came and sat down and like just fucking played it, and he's like, "Oh, you mean like this?" and like ripped it. And,
You're all like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah. And then his whole aesthetic is very. It's very like John Bonham, very laid back the way that he plays. And my tendency, especially when I was younger, is sort of to overplay. And he's just like the antithesis of that. He's very minimalist, but just powerful. Mm. And just his feel is incredible. And he's always kind of stressed that to me, but now that we're playing together, and we tried to play together multiple times when we were younger, but
is this the guy? Is this the guy that you had an issue with?
No. Okay. So that's Steve, the dude that I lived with in North Carolina that taught me a lot about doing live sound.
I was like, because you said you had a long history with that guy as well, and that's why all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, is this the same guy?
Yeah, there's a few musicians that have kind of stuck around and hung in there. Brendan is one of them, and Steve, the dude that I lived with in North Carolina that I play dub reggae shit with. I admitted it. I came out. I play dub reggae.
That's all right. There's no shame here. Yeah, it's nasty shit.
It's cool. I love not into like modern reggae shit, like we said earlier, like the white boy reggae shit.
Right.
Isn't really my thing, but like that fucking like 60s and 70s dub reggae, like, King Tubby and Prince Jammy and all that shit is fucking
right. The old school, the
I gotta
genuine.
say though, like the Sublime with Bradley Nolan's son is, I kind of like it.
Yeah,
he sounds pretty good.
I haven't heard him yet.
I heard the one.
It's like I've seen like 2 videos.
Yeah,
recently,
I saw one video.
Like, he sounds a lot like him. Like,
right.
It's cool.
Yeah. No, I have a ton of respect for Sublime. Like, I used to clown on him when I was younger. I didn't really get it, but as I got older and like started focusing on like the songwriting and the way Brad, like the passion and energy and emotion that he put into that is fucking incredible.
Yeah,
and just the idea is just like sampling the samples he used.
It's cool to think like where they would be.
Well,
now
at the time, that took balls. I mean, it was 3 white boys from L.A. or Long Beach or whatever, and the style that they were going for was not obvious, that they should be going for that style, and it was credible. Like, it was good shit. I mean, they were really good. They were good.
Yeah.
Word Davis, you got anything else over there?
Oh yeah.
All right, do it.
How do you feel about spicy foods?
Love spicy food.
How do they treat you?
That's the real question.
How do they treat you?
I mean, I would assume like everybody else. Decent on the way down, but fucking hell on the way out.
Do you like spicy food?
I would rather eat a pile of shit
really
than eat something spicy.
So I can't do like Dave's Insanity. Do you like, what's your favorite hot sauce?
I mean, I don't know if I necessarily have a favorite. I mean, I put siracha on a lot of shit.
Well, sriracha is good, but you can't fucking find it anymore.
Yeah,
is
I know.
Still gone? I think it's gone forever.
I found some.
Wait a second.
I forget where
sriracha's
I was.
Like vanished off the face of the earth. It's weird.
Is it China or what? Why?
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I forget
like
what happened.
There was like a shortage or something, and then it's gone. And the substitutes are not
good. Not even
They're
close.
Like terrible.
Yeah,
that's strange.
Yeah, I can't remember
it's
where I found
kind
it.
of upsetting, actually. Like it's
It
like
seems upsetting because I used to put sriracha in mayonnaise, like sriracha mayonnaise.
Great.
Yeah,
it makes
but that's just
it makes
not
a new dipping sauce.
Spice, it's not like
if you put sriracha directly on stuff, it's pretty.
Yeah,
good.
that's why I can't handle it direct.
So I have
to. No, I had some pizza earlier today. I put a little bit on my pizza.
Go to hell.
Yeah.
God damn.
But like, when I get my girlfriend really loves hot shit, and like she loves hot shit. I like hot shit. Like I always want to try. Like, oh, these are the hottest wings. Like I'll try it.
Right.
But just to say I tried it and just to have that experience. but I'm probably not going to order it all the time. She, on the other hand, she like if it's the fucking nuclear wings, she wants them, and like
and she can handle them.
She handles it.
That's
man.
crazy.
Yeah.
So the
I think she's trying to prove
Tabasco Chipotle hot sauce. That's one of the best. But
that one is good.
My favorite fucking hot sauce. I found it. It's at Richardson's farm. Or no, not Richardson's. It's called Kenyan Wild. I wrote it down.
Good.
Wild Kenyan pepper sauce, dude. That is the best hot sauce I've ever had in my life.
I just realized I do have one that's really up there. I think it's called Yucatan.
Yeah.
Yucatan. It's like a small bottle, but they have like, I think it's like it's a green one,
right.
But I think it has it's jalapeno and maybe serrano and something else, maybe some habanero in there, but it is fucking delicious.
Dude, when we worked back when me, Josh, TJ worked at Cranberry Liquors.
Oh God.
We remember how we used to fuck with each other?
Yeah.
We'd like get Chick-fil-A or like we'd get Chick-fil-A. Our pranks got to the point where because we just wouldn't eat them all the time. Like somebody'd go get the food and come back. We'd like take the chicken, slice it open.
Yeah.
And like dump Dave's Insanity into it, and then just shut the piece of chicken, wrap it back up, and just sit there and watch the person eat it.
Dude, I mean,
like, oh God, it was so fun. I did that at another job, and with new people, and they did not find.
They did not think it was
fun.
fun.
They were like, "What the fuck? Why would you do that?" I'm like, "Cause that's what I do. That's what I did." Like.
Yeah, I have a terrifying story involving hot sauce that now that I've gotten older and talked to a lot more people, I don't think it's that uncommon, but the way that I experienced it was a little uncommon. I was living in Ocean City and I was working at this Italian restaurant that made pizza and wings and all types of Italian shit, but I was on wings that day, and usually I was expo, so I wasn't even like cooking. I was like, orders would come in, I would just make sure the orders went where they needed to go and everything was fucking together.
Plated.
Yeah, essentially. But I guess we were down somebody that day, and they threw me on like wings, but like not even frying them, just like throwing them in the sauce and tossing them and shit like that. So after the shift that day, we were making really hot wings, and we were using, that Da Bomb shit, Da Bomb hot sauce.
Yes, I do.
It's fucking like absolutely insane. That was like the nuclear wing. So we would make like a whole fucking thing of wings, and then just put like 2 drops of that shit in there, and it was enough to like make them like
unbearable.
Yeah. So it's after the shift, and there was a little bar there. So like after the shift, we would go and hang out and have a drink. And around the same time I started working there, I started hooking up with this girl for the first time. All right. So after the shift, I go to take a piss in the bathroom, and I go to sit back down and drink with the guys after work, and I start to feel a tingle in my pants, and it starts building. And my first thought is like, oh shit, dude, I hooked up with this girl. I got a fucking. She gave me like fucking
chlamydia or some shit.
Like
right.
My shit is what the fuck.
The drip.
It started, and it started like building, and like I'm like starting to like fucking sweat. Right. And like I can't say anything. I'm like just trying to act normal and drink my stuff and laugh with people. I'm fucking freaking out trying to like dude, oh my God, I'm so stupid. I should have used a condom. What the fuck was I doing? And then like eventually I was like, oh, I used that fucking hot sauce today.
It's Da Bomb.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, I'll keep an eye on this for like a day or two, and if it doesn't go away, I gotta go to a doctor. But
that's incredible.
It ended up being the hot sauce fingers.
Yeah, man.
That's a wonderful story.
Hot sauce fingers.
Nightmare.
Incredible story. Hey, so speaking of your girlfriend, this is strange. She's a fish fan.
She is.
Are you a fish fan?
Sort of. I don't hate fish.
Man, I don't know if I've ever met a sort of. It's either you are or you aren't usually.
Right.
I look.
Well, if he's sleeping with someone who loves fish, you've got to deal with them.
Before I met her, like I had a couple good friends in high school that were like really into fish in high school, and they turned me on to like Yem, You Enjoy Myself, and like David Bowie and shit. And I loved that shit.
Yeah, musically. It's
exactly. Like you got to respect it. But then when you get into like my girlfriend kind of, and like, oh, I've been to 35 shows and I've seen him here, and I got to see him at Madison Square Garden, and it's like life changing, and it's like, it might be, but and like maybe if I was like 21 or 22 and I was still partying and like didn't have a fucking full-time job and shit, I could really get into it. Absolutely. But like at this point in my life, I'm just like, I respect it. And I'll listen to it and definitely pull shit out of it that I like. So no,
that's my fish life now. Good. Like I see him when I see him, and I thoroughly enjoy it. Yeah, like I go out to Colorado and see him at Dick's because our buddies live in Colorado.
That's cool.
But we don't go to all four. I don't go to all 4 nights. Like we do Colorado shit. Like hiking. Plus this year,
she was talking to me about some. They're having a show. I think it's in Delaware.
Dude, it's my birthday.
And
I had 2 gigs that week.
Yeah, and you have to get like the 3-day pass to do it. I'm like. And the price isn't ridiculous, but I'm like, dude, I can't do 3 fucking days. Like,
that was my
crazy.
problem.
I would have to just we're gonna get a hotel and like, she's like, oh, we can sleep in a tent. I'm like, you're fucking nuts.
Right.
I need a hotel.
I agree.
I gotta take a shit
nowadays,
in a toilet. I need a shower.
Nowadays, Jesus
dude,
Christ.
But the cool thing about Dick's this year is the O's are playing the Rockies.
Oh, no shit.
In Colorado, so we're going to do like O's fish.
Yeah, wow, that's
fun.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, because I know that Scott's into them or here and there, and I know that you were talking about maybe going to the Sphere.
Yeah,
and that's this weekend.
Yeah,
and so
he convinced me to enter the
lottery.
Yeah, the lottery to get tickets for
what was
the
face value of those tickets? Said you won the lottery.
Well, it was fucked up because like you had to like if you wanted to get tickets for multiple nights, like Thursday or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to increase your chances. If you got picked, you had to pay for all. You couldn't choose which night you wanted to go.
Right,
so
but it wasn't like $4,000 a seat if you got if you got picked in the lottery.
I think it was close to like 300 a person, maybe 250, 300 a person. And I put in for one night. We didn't get picked, but yeah, I didn't want to be on the hook for $1,200.
But if you would have never seen them before, that would have been a hell of a first.
Yeah. No, it would have been fucking cool.
Yeah, because full disclosure, they're one of my favorite bands of all time. But I totally get when people don't like them. I don't push them on anybody.
Yeah.
And my days of seeing them constantly are far behind me.
I mean, the first time I saw them was '94. USA Arena.
If I would have known, I would have brought her with me tonight.
Yeah, well, like
could have had your own podcast.
This tattoo, set the gear shift for the high gear of your soul, is a fish soul.
I got to take a picture of that and send it to her.
A funny story.
Fisherman's
a funny St.
logo.
Ursula story. So one of the teachers at St. Ursula come to find out she's a fish fan, and her husbands are fish fans, and my kids are in their class.
Yeah.
So on like the dollar day where they can not wear their uniform, Garrett wore my O's. It's like it's the fish logo, but it says Orioles.
Right.
He wore that, and the teacher's like, oh shit, that's awesome! Like I'm a fish fan.
This kid trips.
Well, yeah, he's like, he's like,
Maybe
it's also he's
drugs
like,
from him.
He's like, yeah, my dad's, or no, she's like, yeah, I think she said she'd been to like 50 shows, but her husband's been to 100, I think, or he's like 198, and he's like, yeah, my dad's been to like 3. And he came home and like told me that, and I'm like, dude, okay, like I'm not like a fish nerd or
now
fish
I know
snob,
your teacher does drugs.
But well, yeah. But you can't tell people that I've only seen them 3 times.
Right, I've been to more than 3.
Yeah.
So I made my wife email this teacher and set the record straight.
That's
and like she
cool.
immediately responded. She's like, holy shit, that just made my night. That's fucking
You said,
hilarious.
just so you know, here are the ticket stubs.
Yeah,
it's
like
57.
I have seen more than 3 fish shows. Like,
I
please don't go around
ticket.
spreading
Right, just
that
so
rumor.
you know.
Don't tell people that, Garrett.
Yeah. 30, not 3.
Yeah, well, we've had some of our most insane psychedelic experiences together at fish shows.
I could only imagine.
In the mid-'90s.
Madison Square Garden, 98 into 99, where you had the greatest prediction of all time, where
nowadays everybody acts like it seems obvious.
But no.
No one was
like,
saying
they're going to
it.
do Prince 1999, and they opened up
It was
the new year with it.
98 into 99, and for 2 years before that, I'm like,
it
doesn't matter. We got to be New Year's 99 or 98 into 99. They're going to do Prince 1999. Everybody's like, why? Why would they do Prince? They did Purple Rain, but they've never done a full song. I'm like, I don't know. It's just perfect. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
They opened the show with a half hour in 1999. It was phenomenal.
That's fucking cool.
But yeah, so it's just a small world, and I'm happy to meet you.
Yeah,
you know?
same.
And
You guys are
I'm
fucking
glad
awesome.
to meet you too.
Yeah,
This
and-
place
it's
is
fun.
cool as shit.
Yeah.
Shout out. What's the name? What's the name of this place?
Sanity Lounge. It's Black
Sanity
Dog
Lounge.
Black
Studio.
Dog Audio
Black
is
Dog
the studio.
Audio.
Yep.
Yeah, this place is incredible.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was blown away when I walked in.
The logo we had local made. We got the Baltimore skyline. If you look
Yeah,
deep
my
in the
friend
background.
Greg Jericho Vinegar Works did the logo. But
The-
yeah, we have the city skyline subtly in the back.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
love it.
Joe, before we go, what are your like? Give me your what kind of movie cat are you? Like, what's your favorite?
Horror movies.
Yeah, what's your
Yeah.
favorite top three?
I am like my all-time favorite is Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street. The original,
Of
the
course.
original, made for TV. I grew up with. It's fucking terrified me when I was a
Yep.
kid.
That's so fun.
And then third, I would have to go. I mean, fuck it. We'll just switch it up. Shit, man. Ghostbusters 2 or like
Wow,
Home
hot
Alone
take.
or something.
Nice.
Yeah. Terminator 2 also. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Terminator 2. That's our
Yeah.
that.
Terminator 2. I fucking grew up watching that. I should not have been watching it. I was probably like 7 or 8 years old.
Right.
And I was too young for the original Terminator, so like I just got introduced to Terminator 2 and fucking rocked my world.
Yeah. The Terminator franchise I love in general, but
Yeah.
the Predator franchise.
Yeah,
obviously.
Predator.
And you
was
said
great.
the
I'm a
it.
fan of that.
Yeah.
It was your the Tim
original
Curry.
the original Tim Curry.
That fucked me up too.
Dude,
we were in high school
same.
for fuck's sake, and it fucked me
It
up.
I was
did,
7
but
or
part
8.
1 fucked me up more than part 2. Always.
Yeah,
It was
always.
just the creepiness. Like
The reason
Tim
is
Curry was so much creepier than the new It is good and Skarsgård's fantastic.
he's good. Yeah.
But Tim
Curry's
he
fucking
just-
Something
look.
about
He
it,
looked
man.
very creepy
because
yeah.
he looked real.
Yeah, it was genuine.
Like he didn't
him
have
behind
like
that laundry line and
the
shit.
forehead. Like he just looked
he didn't
like
do he
yeah.
didn't do a goofy voice and
Right.
like Skarsgård was great,
Yeah,
but
he
like
was.
it was compared to Tim Curry, it was just overacted a little bit but who the fuck am I? I'm not an actor.
Yeah, and
Well,
it was great.
The
but
problem
it
with
was
the
still
second
scary as
half
shit.
of it is the actual delivering the visual of what
Yeah,
the
it was-
monster
it was
is.
the-
It's hard to pull off. It's like
Yeah,
you can't
back then
do
it was just
and
like-
even now when they did it
I don't
better.
feel like
but
the
it's
part
still
2 doesn't hold up.
Even this part 2, even the new version,
Yeah.
the first part was really good. The second part was.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like I think it's just
But the special
bane
effects
of
were
of
better
its existence.
in the new
Special
one.
effects were definitely.
Oh yeah, for sure. Great one-liners in the first one though, in the original.
Oh yeah,
Great one-liners.
And John Ritter, John
Yeah,
Ritter,
yeah,
and
yeah.
the cast was
Fucking-
incredible.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's good shit.
Yeah,
That's
man.
good stuff.
I was like, we talked about it. My favorite horror movie's always been Friday the 13th Part 3.
Yeah, I have not been able to get into Halloween or Friday
Slasher
the 13th.
type.
Yeah. Like it just doesn't do it for me for some reason. But then people have the same feeling about Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, oh, Freddy's
I love
a
them
clown.
all. Like I definitely grew up with them, but
yeah, I grew up
I mean,
with
they're
that.
say
all
I have a-
dated.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They're all
How the-
nostalgic and dated at this point, but they're still
not
incredible.
the original Halloween.
Not the original. Well, I mean, it's dated like looks wise. They're all
but
wearing fucking
God,
bell
Donald
bottoms.
Pleasance and like that movie. That's probably my
Michael
favorite.
Myers is here. Yeah, oh, I love Pleasance.
I didn't mention Halloween 1.
It's all right, baby.
Such a
Halloween
good
one's
movie,
all right.
man.
Yeah.
Such a good.
So
movie.
look,
It's acceptable.
did you do the video? My point was we made the logo. It's a local thing. We recorded the theme song. I have a band making waves as the 80s 90s cover band.
Yeah.
You'll have to
But-
check them out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's really we have fun, dude.
They play a lot in Westminster, but down like our way, they play
McAvoy's.
McAvoy's.
Yeah.
Okay.
We play Ocean City all summer.
yeah.
They
yeah,
play
yeah.
Fagers a lot, but McAvoy's
Stables
like
next Friday.
they play.
Hell yeah.
Saturday.
You played McAvoy's like for the first time like
last year.
last year, 2023, and like the place was packed. It was packed that day, and they fucking killed it. And the owner was like, "We're definitely having you guys back."
Fuck yeah.
They're good, man. They got a good front man, and they're all just super fucking talented.
It's just fun. We have a lot of
it's
good
80s,
set lists.
80s, 90s, and today's hits. Now.
It
was
right.
just 80s for a while.
But like we do
it's
Run
good.
DMC, it's tricky into Blink 182.
Brian sings,
into,
Brian sings Bob Seger, Billy Idol stuff.
Yeah, that's fucking cool.
But my other band with my cousin is we call Gravediggers Biscuits, and we recorded the theme music. So we've sourced all the shit locally. We're trying to kind of bring a good vibe to Baltimore in general.
Yeah, man.
And the Baltimore music scene. And we've had bands in here. We've had drummers. But it's an honor to meet you. And,
Same.
And we're going to let you loose
it was
on
awesome.
the set.
I can't wait to listen to you.
Yeah, just...
I'll finish off with this one question because we're about to find out.
Yeah.
Is how well do you deal with improvisation and drumming? Like, one of the things I always talk to him about is like, and Ricky, the drummers we had, Tristan Gilbert, Ricky Wise, like they can just fill in. They can just sit down with a band and play.
Yeah. I'm fairly decent with it. I was definitely, when I was younger, I was definitely better. Like you could just put me in any situation and on a kit. If people were playing, I could hop in. I didn't even think about it. I think the older I've gotten, like the more self-conscious I've gotten about my playing, and I notice that I fall into like habits quickly, and like whether it's good or not, I mean, it's definitely unique, but yeah, I can improvise. I can hang in there.
But we're gonna find out.
That's good
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
man, we'll just rock out for a few minutes,
check it
however
out.
long you want. And all right, man, well, great to meet you, and I appreciate
Let's
you.
play some
man.
drums.
Awesome.
Hey, stay sane, Baltimore.
There you go. You got it. Sanity Lounge is brought to you by Polyprops. Polyprops US specializes in the production and distribution of materials used in the creation of props and costumes, particularly in the cosplay and entertainment industries. For more information, visit www.poly-propsus.com. Use code HEXFLEX10 for 10% off your first order.
Thanks for listening, Baltimore. You can find us at www.sanitylounge.com or on Instagram at sanity.lounge.
Keep listening and subscribe.
Stay sane, Baltimore.